Guys, how you doing? It's Sean from Retaliation Resale, and hopefully this is going to be a good video today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what sold, what I listed, get into a little bit of philosophy. I've had some encounters with some less than honorable, shall we say, people. So I want to talk about how to deal with some folks like that. But first, let's jump into what sold, because I know everybody likes to see numbers and you know, I've seen a lot of videos lately of people, they're leaving eBay because they're not making enough money. And I think part of it is they don't have enough items listed. They don't have enough good items listed, and they're not priced accordingly. They're not priced for what the market will bear. They want more than sort of what's reasonable. The economy sucks right now. It's not doing well. I've got a feeling it's not going to get better for a while. So people want a deal. So you need to get a deal when you get a hold of your merchandise, and you need to give a deal when you're selling. I like to watch a lot of tech and sports videos. Oops, this is the cat, one of three. He might pop up here. So. But I watch a lot of tech and sports videos, and he's great because tech will go to certain people at these flea markets, and he'll pay so much for hats, so much for shirts, and he doesn't really negotiate the price. It's like, how much do you want for the shirts? Like $3, okay. And then he'll go through, okay, I'll take these 25 shirts, and that's it. As he says, the people selling the merchandise, they need to make money as well. He needs to make money when he sells. So if he likes the price is the price. And I agree with that. People, sorry, the cat's deciding that the camera pole is something he wants to scratch against. People need to make money. So wherever you're getting it from, whether it's a Salvation Army, it's a thrift store, it's a flea market, it's a rag house, it's a bed shop, those people need to make money. When you sell it, you need to make money. When somebody buys it, they need to save money. They're buying it used on eBay because they don't want to pay full price new. So if they can get it new for just above what it costs to buy it used, they're going to buy it new. So they also want a deal. And the people that are buying, they're your customers. So you need to price accordingly. Okay, buddy. That's the door to the garage, and he's figured out now that he can go into the garage and go hang out on top of the washer because it's higher. And we might have to honor that request. We'll see. The cats kind of rule the house, but anyway, what sold? Okay, just a few things. I sold 3 Windsor Pilate DVDs, and I sold them basically the same day I think I listed them. And I had 3 used Windsor Pilates DVDs. It's a series of, I think, of 8 or 9. I also had a yoga DVD, so I just combined them. Sold all 4, $16.50, offered free shipping. Shipping was $8.70. Came out with I'm sorry, shipping was something. Profit was $8.70 after eBay got their cut. So not great, not bad. I always like to make at least $10 if I can. $5 at the minimum, but I've got an example here where that doesn't happen, and I'll explain what happened on that, and it's very educational. So stick around if you can. The second item I sold was an Electroless plating book. Now this one was interesting because I could have sold it on Amazon, but it's selling for about $55 on Amazon. However, this book does not have the dust jacket, and it's selling, I think in the last 6 months it sold 5 copies. So it's selling about every 5 to 6 weeks on Amazon. And I would have to list this book at least in good because it doesn't have a dust jacket, maybe even acceptable. And I'd have to explain, does not have a dust jacket, because Amazon has a very liberal return policy. And even if you you have 30, 60, 90 days. I'm not sure what it is for Amazon. I've heard of people getting books back after 6 months, 9 months, even a year. So you have to be really careful with Amazon. If you're talking about a paperback that's selling for $12.99 and you're only making like $3.50 profit, not a big deal. But when you start getting up there in $50, $60 books, you need to be very careful with what you sell and how you sell it on Amazon. So I would have to list this book as either, like I said, good or acceptable. Say it's doesn't have a dust jacket, the inside's in good condition. But even with that, if you have a choice of buying a book in new condition for, I don't know what it's selling in new, but let's say you can buy this book for $55 in very good condition, or you can buy a good or acceptable copy without a dust jacket. You're not going to pay $50 when you get a very good copy for $55. So I would have had to mark this down to, let's say, $35, maybe even $30. So I decided, instead of doing that and still risking the possibility of getting it back on Amazon, I'm going to sell it on eBay. Hey, buddy. Want to see the camera? Okay, no. He's fickle. He's not fickle. He's just got sharp claws. Hey, buddy, look at the camera. Okay. Stay here until he decides to jump. So I decided that, hey, I'm going to sell it on eBay. I listed it for $25 for shipping, and I made $19.37. I listed this book on December 31st, and it sold in about 9 weeks. And I was very happy. There was other copies listed on Amazon without a cover, but they were listed for like $80, $90. And I knew they weren't going to sell. No one's going to pay $90 on eBay for the same book that they can get, maybe even with a dust jacket, for $55. That makes no sense. So that's what I was talking about. You need to be smart in your pricing. I think there are these people that are just, hey, I'll list it for wherever I want, and then it might not sell. And but if somebody looks at it, then I'll offer them 10% off, and maybe that'll work. And I hate that. Price it to sell. If you need to send somebody a coupon saying, hey, I saw that you looked at this, I'll give you an extra 10% off, that means you've got it priced incorrectly to begin with. If you've got it priced fairly, people will buy it. That's just how it goes. That's my thought. And yeah, it takes a little research, but the more you do this, the more you'll understand what stuff is worth and how to price it. The next item I sold was a vintage 1968 Better Homes and Garden gardening book. This is a book that comes in a 3-ring binder. It's from, I think, 1968. But it's complete. It sold for $13 plus shipping. Sold fairly quickly. I think I had it listed for maybe 2-3 weeks. So I made $9.35. And okay. Cats, they're lovely. And I really screwed up. Well, no. Okay, sorry. I sold 2 VHS sets. I sold a Star Wars trilogy, Star Wars, The Emperor Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi. VHS, yep, VHS tape sold. Trilogy I sold for $8.99 plus shipping. I made $6.32. And then, I don't know why I did this, but I sold Titanic set 2 CDs, or not CDs, 2 VHS tapes, and I had it listed for $6.99. And I don't know why I listed it so cheap. I thought maybe it wouldn't sell, but I said that I would pay shipping. But shipping was like $4 or $5. So after eBay took their cut, I made a big whopping 88 cents. Now I still made profit. I only took 2 pictures of the items. I put it in a poly bag that I had, wrapped it. It was only going from here to Berkeley. I didn't put a lot of effort in. I made 88 cents, so I didn't lose money. But I think I thought that I had listed it for $6.99 plus shipping. So, I've been doing this for 2 years. I still make the occasional mistake. Better to make a mistake like this on the smaller end than on the larger end. But now, going forward, I know that if there's something that I think is going to sell and I'm going to make a few bucks off of it, like the Star Wars trilogy, it's going to be $8.99 plus shipping, where I need to make it a higher price and include the shipping. So let's see. One more item I sold. I sold the How Done It series, not the Who Done It, but How Done It. 7 books for $35, and this is about crimes from the police point of view, police procedure. If there's like a dead body, what the police do when they first show up, in terms of putting caution tape around, keeping people at bay, taking statements, that kind of thing. Also, from a criminal's point of view, how thieves case a business that they might plan on robbing, private detectives, what they do, how they work. And basically, this is a series of books, I think primarily geared towards writers. So, how you could write good crime fiction, good murder mysteries, so you understand the procedure, so it's more authentic, and it actually reads like somebody who knows what they're talking about. So that was it for what sold. For what sold on eBay. I did sell 3 things, but I sold them on Facebook Marketplace, including one item that I had listed on eBay for probably about 3 months that just wasn't selling. So, it's kind of interesting. The last video I did on what sold on eBay, I went for the total clickbait title, and I did, I made $22.30 on eBay, and I'm happy, or I'm thrilled, something to that effect. And I thought that would gain a lot of views, and it did. I got a big whopping 18 of them. And then I did a short on don't negotiate price before showing the goods, and I got 507 views. And I was really amazed because I had what was I selling? I was selling these DVDs, and I had 100 DVDs listed on eBay for, I think, $25 plus shipping. And the thing is, when you think of a DVD, you're like, okay, they're light, and they are. But when you get 100 DVDs together, there's actually some decent weight. And these, I think, 100 DVDs, the shipping was going to be like $15-20. So, 100 DVDs for $40 isn't as good of a deal. I mean, it's still 40 cents a DVD, basically, but it's, $45 is a lot different than $25. So what I did is I'm like, what? Let me list these on Facebook Marketplace. It's local. There's enough of a market. And, I did like 200 plus DVDs, $25. And I got one response where all the guy said was $20 question mark. And I just wrote back, no. And I blocked him. And as I said in the short, never negotiate price before someone's seen the goods, because this is a con man. This is somebody that is not interested in what you have to sell. Or, yeah, they're interested, but they're going to totally try and screw you on the price. Because what they'll do is they'll try to negotiate a price down, and then when they come, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that might have been a fair price for like modern DVDs, but you've got some from the 90s, so yeah, the value really isn't as high. So what about $10? People that are like, oh, you're selling a truck for $2,500. Well, would you take $2,000? Because money's a little tight. I just got $2,000. And then they show up and they're like, oh, this is a 2000. I thought it was a 2010. Oh yeah, I can't pay 2000 for that. It's gonna have some problems. I'm gonna need to put some maintenance into it. So the best I could do is 1500. So, and that's what these people do. They, the truck could be worth $5,000. There could be, DVDs still in the shrink wrap that are rare and hard to come by, and are worth a lot of money, and they would still try to lowball you. So be aware of that. Price fairly, leave a little wiggle room, because everybody likes a deal, but in certain cases where it's priced to sell. So I just told him no, and then I had some woman that got a hold of me. It's like, hey, I can, I'm in the area, I can pick these up. We did the deal, no problem. She showed up on time, $25, took them all, And then when she got home, she thanked me again. She sent me a follow-up message. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's somebody that you really want to deal with. And I've got more DVDs since then. It's only been like 3 days, and I've already got an extra 25 to 50 DVDs. And I don't know if I'm going to sell them. I don't know how many more I'm going to get in the future. But if it doesn't look like I'm going to get too many more in the future, I might just call her up and say, hey, I got 25 more. Do you want them? And they're free, and do that. I like giving people a deal, especially when I can. Not a huge market for DVDs. There's some money when you get a lot. This is somebody I greatly enjoyed dealing with her. She kept her word. She was prompt. She was punctual. And I'm someone that likes to reward good behavior, and I don't like to reward bad behavior. There's enough people trying to scam you out there in this world. When you come across people that are honest and keep their word, I like to reward that. I like to deal with those people. It's not going to cost me anything. I've got these TVs for free. I didn't have to pay for them. And I would gladly give them to this woman that purchased them because we've already done business. She's a woman of her word. I appreciate that. She appreciates me. We'll see what happens. I sold these 200 DVDs. The other thing I just sold these last night, is I had 40 used movie scripts. And I've got these movie scripts from somebody that was giving them away. He had a thrift store. He bought someone's movie collection, mostly film books, but there were these 40 scripts, and they're photocopies of photocopies, not the best quality. And basically, it was sort of his life's collection. He wanted to get rid of it, but he wanted it to go to some place where he was assured that it would not go into the landfill. And that's how I get my books when I do these post-estate clean-out sales. So this guy made the deal. He had them for a while. He sold some stuff. But then his thrift store kind of went out of business. He couldn't do it anymore. He had all the stuff. He had it in his garage. I answered his ad, and he's like, basically, hey, you can sell it. You can do whatever you want to. But basically, the deal is you just can't throw the stuff away. And I said, no problem. I won't throw it away. So I had these 40 copies, and originally I had them listed for $100. After a day or two, no responses. And I started thinking about, okay, 40 copies, $100 is kind of a lot. They're from the 80s and the 90s. They've got $20 written on the corner in pencil, and I'm sure these sold for $20 in the day. And I've actually bought a used script before because a buddy of mine we're sci-fi geeks. We decided, hey, we're going to try and write an episode of Star Trek. So what you do is you get one of these scripts, because you see how it's formatted. Usually they have to be between so many pages. I think it's like 100 and 120, because there's a time limit. There's so much dialogue, and you have to handle description in a certain way. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let me just blow these out. I will sell them to somebody else that can purchase them, and then maybe sell them for a profit. So I was thinking, you know what? I've got 40 of them, or 42. I'm going to sell them for $40. If they sell them all for $10 a piece, that's $400. Great deal. If they can only sell half of them, 20 for $10 each, $200, they're going to make $160 profit. They'll make $160 profit and their original $40 back. They're going to 4 times their money. Great deal. One guy wanted them, and he said, I can't get them till tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I'll hold them to you until 7 o'clock, and that's when I go to bed, because I get up really early in the morning. I sent him a message in the morning, hey, you still on? Didn't hear back from them. Didn't hear back from him. So I took it off pending, and I relisted it. Next day, this guy, we set it up. Boom, same day. Showed up, $40. I asked him, hey, what are you going to do with them? And I told him the whole story. I'm like, hey, I don't care if you sell them. If you do, good for you. You could sell them for $20 each, and then, I'm like, you can sell it $20 for the first one, and every additional one is 10, or you can just sell them for 10, and so you get your money back. And if you sell them for 10 and only sell half, same thing. You make $200, you make $160 profit plus your 40 back. And he's like, actually, I just kind of like the idea of having them around and just sort of reading the scripts. And I was like, hey, man, it's great, whatever you want to do with them. I told him what I did, my philosophy. Hey, that's great. If you want to sell them, you can make some good money. Power to you. I won't be offended. So if I come across you and you're selling them, thumbs up, power to you, my brother. And he's like, that's fine. He appreciated that. But I think he's really just going to use them for his home use. So Not a problem. Not a problem at all. The other thing that I sold was I sold an Ampro 758 tape recorder. And again, this is something that I got in the state sale clean out. This is really nice because it's an old, it was like a tube amp, I believe, reel to reel. So it has tubes instead of, what are they, circuits or capacitors? Anyway, these tubes, they're used in old televisions as well. And a lot of the old tubes, they don't make anymore, and they're hard to find. And you can sell them sometimes individually for parts for like $10, $20, up to $100 for certain tubes, depending on how rare they are. And I could have gone to a recording studio in San Francisco. I don't know if Tiny Telephone is still around, but there's this great guy that I know, John Vanderslice, who does everything digital. He does it on tape, and in fact, when everything was going to digital, I mean, he does it on analog, excuse me, which is tape. A lot of people were going to digital, and the one company that made the analog tape was going to stop making it. And I think he got all his money together and bought out the existing supply. And then I think the company changed their mind, but he was going to make sure that he had tape for a while, and power to him, because he had to really scrounge to get the money together. But like I said, I don't know if he's still around, but that's somebody I know of. Tiny Telephone Studio. I could have called, see if they're still around. Hey, I got this old, tube amp, this old Ampro 758. Can you use it? He might have known of people. There's this great magazine that another buddy of mine, Larry Crane, started called T-Pop, and it's stories about people that have recording studios and interesting tricks that they use to get certain sounds, certain bits of equipment that they like, why they like them. Other more established producers, they've published bits and pieces from their memoirs about people that they've recorded in the whole recording process. Great magazine. I think it's free, so you can, you might want to check it out if you're a recording enthusiast. Tape Op, I greatly recommend it. Like I said, my buddy Larry was running it. I think he's in Arizona now. I'm not sure. Haven't seen him in like 20 years, but he's a great guy, good friend, and I hope he's doing well, because he's like a great guy. So those are 3 things that I sold on Facebook Marketplace. And I know I started off talking about eBay, but the DVDs I tried to sell on Facebook, they wouldn't sell. So I said, hey, I'm going to try another avenue. I'm going to try and sell them locally. You should have more than one avenue of places where you sell. I sell on Amazon FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. Ship books into Amazon. They sit on the warehouse. They sell them. I get the money when they sell. I'm now selling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. And I've also sold on WhatsApp.
Wits not before.
So the more places you have to sell your items, the more money you can make. And if for some reason one of your selling platforms, eBay or Amazon, gets shut down, or your account gets frozen, or there's a bit of tomfoolery, as they say, and it's suspended for a while, you need to be able to sell merchandise in other places to have money coming in while you figure out what the problem is and you fix it.
Oh my gosh!
Thank you.
Goodbye.